Sow a thought, reap an action. Sow an action, reap a habit. Sow a habit, reap a character. Sow a character, reap a destiny. But until a person can say deeply and honestly, I am what I am today because of the choices I made yesterday, that person cannot say, I choose otherwise. To achieve goals you've never achieved before, you need to start doing things you've never done before. If we keep doing what we're doing, we're going to keep getting what we're getting. Most of us spend too much time on what is urgent and not enough time on what is important. Effective people are not problem-minded, they're opportunity-minded. They feed opportunities and starve problems. Most people do not listen with the intent to understand, they listen with the intent to reply. Treat a man as he is and he will remain as he is. Treat a man as he can and should be and he will become as he can and should be. Start with the end in mind. The way we see the problem is the problem. Make time for planning. Where are one in the general's tent? Trust is the glue of life. It's the most essential ingredient in effective communication. It's the foundational principle that holds all relationships. To change ourselves effectively, we first had to change our perceptions. I am not a product of my circumstances. I am a product of my decisions. We see the world, not as it is, but as we are or, as we are conditioned to see it. Strength lies in differences, not in similarities. Leadership is communicating people's worth and potential so clearly that they come to see it themselves. Two people can see the same thing, disagree, and yet both be right. It's not logical, it's psychological. At some time in your life, you probably had someone believe in you when you didn't believe in yourself. The key is not to prioritize what's on your schedule, but to schedule your priorities. You have to decide what your highest priorities are and have the courage pleasantly, smilingly, non-apologetically, to say no to other things. And the way you do that is by having a bigger yes burning inside. The enemy of the best is often the good. To touch the soul of another human being is to walk on holy ground. If I really want to improve my situation, I can work on the one thing over which I have control, myself. Be a light, not a judge. Be a model, not a critic. Highly effective people tend to be proactive. They decide to find a better job or to have better health, rather than responding to whatever curves life throws at them. Happiness, like unhappiness, is a proactive choice. My paradigm shifted. Suddenly I saw things differently, and because I saw differently, I thought differently, I felt differently, I behaved differently. Live out of your imagination, not your history. When you make a mistake, admit it, correct it, and learn from it immediately. The only thing that endures over time is the law of the farm. You must prepare the ground, plant the seed, cultivate, and water if you expect to reap the harvest. You can't change the fruit without changing the root. There are three constants in life: change, choice, and principles. What you do has greater impact than what you say. Setbacks are inevitable. Misery is a choice. Leadership is a choice, not a position. The key to success is dedication to lifelong learning. The power to keep commitments to ourselves is the essence of developing the basic habits of effectiveness. I use the word effectiveness to get away from the word of success, because it tends to connote only getting desired results. But you have to constantly nurture the assets that produce those desired results. It's the nature of reactive people to absolve themselves of responsibility. Leaders are not born or made, they are self-made. Management is efficiency in climbing the ladder of success. Leadership determines whether the ladder is leaning against the right wall. Synergy is better than my way or your way. It's our way. If you want small changes in your life, work on your attitude. But if you want big and primary changes, work on your paradigm. Each of us guards a gate of change that can be opened only from the inside. You can retire from a job, but don't ever retire from making extremely meaningful contributions in life. The roots of the problems we face in the world, in our national life, and in our family and personal lives are spiritual. The key is taking responsibility and initiative, deciding what your life is about and prioritizing your life around the most important things. Goals are pure fantasy unless you have a specific plan to achieve them. Every time you think the problem is out there, that very thought is the problem. Life is not accumulation, it is about contribution. Employers and business leaders need people who can think for themselves, who can take initiative and be the solution to problems. The main thing is to keep the main thing the main thing. Your most important work is always ahead of you, never behind you. Treat your employees exactly as you want them to treat your best customers. Motivation is a fire from within. If someone tries to light that fire under you, chances are it will burn very briefly. Be a light, not a judge. Be a model, not a critic. Be a part of the solution, not part of the problem. Proactive people carry their own weather with them. Accountability breeds responsibility. Live your life by a compass, not a clock. Deep within each of us is an inner longing to live a life of greatness and contribution, to really matter, to really make a difference. We can consciously decide to leave behind a life of mediocrity and to live a life of greatness, at home, at work, and in the community. There's no better way to inform and expand your mind on a regular basis than to get into the habit of reading good literature. Being influenceable is the key to influencing others. Most arguments are not really disagreements but are rather little ego battles and misunderstandings. We live in a shortcut world. Can you imagine a farmer cramming in the fall to bring forth the harvest, as students have done, and still do, to pass examinations? Can you imagine a mile runner pretending speed and endurance, or a concert pianist putting on the appearance of skill and proficiency? Admission of ignorance is often the first step in our education. Most meetings are a waste of time, because they are so ill-prepared and there's so little opportunity for true synergy in producing better results. Our most important financial asset is our own capacity to earn. We are not animals. So, we are not a product of what has happened to us in our past. We have the power of choice. To know and know to do is really not to know.